While the Republicans still have some control over what happens in the upper chamber, the Democratic-controlled House is quickly steamrolling things like religious liberty. House Democrats, along with 3 Republicans, passed the Equality Act on Thursday by a vote of 224 to 206. The legislation expands the 1964 Civil Rights Act by expanding the definition of a protected class to include sex, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The legislation offers little in protection for religious exemptions and, if passed, would result in a situation where organizations are forced to choose between their religious beliefs and following the law. The bill redefines public accommodation to include any establishment that provides a service, including churches, shelters, operated by religious groups, faith-based adoption agencies, and educational institutions associated with religious denominations and associations. All eyes now turn to the Senate as they begin to debate this bill. I want to bring in Keisha Russell. She is a counsel of the First Liberty Institute concentrating on religious liberty matters and First Amendment rights. You can connect with her at firstliberty.org. Okay, Keisha, equality. We all want equality. Why is this a bad thing?
Well, it's a bad thing because, the Democrats pretend that the bill is all about equality, and then within the text of the bill, treat religious Americans very unequally in the bill. And within it basically guts the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act and says that anytime your religious freedom comes in contact with sexuality, gender, or abortion, you don't get a day in court by using the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act, or the RFRA as we call it, as a defense. So now remember that just because you use the federal RFRA doesn't mean you're going to win in court. It just means you get to go to court by using that act. And basically, this bill says that you don't even get to use it. You don't even get to bring it as a claim, as a defense, whenever your religious freedom comes in conflict with these particular subjects. And that is very unequal. It's not neutral to religion. And it's the biggest reason why this bill, I think, is not being discussed in a way that is transparent and truly tells Americans what the bill is really about.
So as a pastor, when I was in California, if I decided that I didn't want to do a same-sex marriage, this bill eliminates any defense I had not doing that. Is that correct?
Well, it certainly would not allow you to use the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act as a defense, which has been a huge, shield for many religious organizations. For example, the Little Sisters of the Poor, which have been in litigation for about a decade now, trying to defend their right not to pay for abortion-inducing contraceptives. The federal RFRA is what has saved them. Hobby Lobby is another, situation in which the federal RFRA was pretty important. And so, another example would be, First Liberty defended an attorney in Alaska who was actually defending a women's shelter. And this women's shelter said that they could not house a man who claimed to be a woman in the shelter. So under, the Alaska started an investigation on the lawyer for even defending this women's shelter and advancing that shelter's religious beliefs. Under the Equality Act, not only would the shelter possibly be in trouble, but the lawyer would be in trouble as well and be subject to prosecution under the Equality Act.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.